This is recorded. Okay.
Do you want us to speak or anything?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, she wants us to stay there. Okay.
Okay. We're recording. It's not recording. Just the camera.
Yeah, that was a bad spot.
More people.
No, I'm just kidding.
120 pounds again, and take up all the space.
Alright. Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming tonight. My name's Ryan. This is Shay. And then our other group members, Moo and Katie, are in the other room. So basically, this focus group is a part of our senior capstone course for the communication studies program. And just the purpose of this is to sort of like gain some insight on like the client that we're working with, which is Philadelphia Achilles. And just some background of the organization. It's like a nonprofit that works with people with disabilities and impairments to sort of promote like physical activity, and they have a lot of like volunteers, and like the purpose of our project is to create like a marketing campaign to improve their social media and website presence so that they can sort of like get their name out there a little more and increase volunteerism and awareness of the program. So we're here to just sort of get your feedback on what motivates people to volunteer and stuff of that nature. So help yourself to some food, and we're recording, so if you could like speak loudly when you like talk, that'd be great. So thank you.
That's awesome.
Good. All right. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
So I second that. Thank you for being here. This is an important part of the senior students' research. It's an audio recording, so that's why they just need the clarity. I'm Professor Angie Corbo, and I'll be kind of asking you questions tonight. Just be honest in your responses. Say what comes to mind. There are no right or wrong answers. What you share tonight will help them kind of figure out ultimately how they'll do a communication campaign for this organization. All right, so the first question, raise your hand if you volunteer for an organization. Okay, that's fantastic. So that's everybody. So if you volunteer, which all of you said you do, why do you volunteer? Is it the philanthropy that you're a part of for a Greek life organization or other reasons?
Probably just something I'm passionate about, like something I want to do.
Okay.
Just to get back, like I enjoy helping others. So.
Fantastic. That's great. We're going to get into more specific questions, so I won't follow up in particular with you, but we'll ask more, so hold on to that. I saw your hand up.
I volunteer to make a difference.
Okay.
So, like, I feel like if I make a difference in one person's life, that I'm happy with that.
Okay, excellent.
I feel like it's always been a part of what I've done.
Mm-hmm.
So volunteering at college felt really natural, but all my life I've been in organizations that would always volunteer. So I guess it feels kind of like second nature to do it.
Okay, nice.
Kind of echoing like what some other people said, it makes like me feel good just to like
Sure.
help other people, but also I like interacting with other people and kind of getting to know them and figuring like out their story.
Okay, excellent.
I was going to say, I feel like it's kind of my duty. I'm privileged to have the life that I have, and I feel like it's kind of like my duty to give back because I'm in a position where I can.
Very nice. Okay. Great. All right, so then the next question, you all volunteer, so I get to skip that one. So if you volunteer, what type of organizations do you volunteer for? Is there a type, anything in particular?
I help with like the food bank.
Okay.
So like especially on like this time of year, a lot of like giveaways and like
Yes.
people come from like all different areas.
Okay.
And we just like, give out food and stuff like that.
Okay, terrific.
I volunteer with children.
Okay. So it sounds like you do these things consistently. Food bank or hunger issues, children. Okay.
I volunteer at Crozier Hospital, and I also volunteer with children in the Chester community.
Okay. And at the hospital, are you doing it in any particular capacity?
What do you mean?
Are you a nursing student, or
Yes,
are you
I'm
doing
a
it?
nursing student.
Okay.
I'm a PSC Bonner too, so like my service site was set at Crozier.
Okay.
I don't do anything hands-on because the way that the
Right.
hospital went from, I think, nonprofit to for-profit,
Right.
but I'm basically like emotional support to patients, so
Excellent.
like it's giving me a lot of good like communication skills and stuff I'll need in the nursing field.
Sure, that sounds wonderful. Anybody else? Types of volunteer opportunities?
Quite a few of us in here were soccer coaches over
Okay.
Stats
Soccer
Center.
for Success?
Yeah, Soccer for Success.
Okay.
It's also partnered with Northern Star Sports as well.
Terrific.
I'm also at Crozier with Amanda, but when I go home, I go to the local elementary school.
Okay, very nice. So a lot of kids, service, that's wonderful. All right, so if we kind of move forward with this. When you found the organization to volunteer, what persuaded you to give your time? So it's one thing to find it, but then there's another reason that kind of keeps you going.
I got one working, kind of piggybacking off of what they said. I work also with NSS and Soccer for Success.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what really drives me to keep doing it is the kids in the organization and like the reason that you're making the impact. At first, you seem really overwhelmed because kids are a lot to handle, especially a big majority of children, like a lot of kids in one place. But when you get to know them and when you really start talking to them, and they range anywhere, I think, from like, could be 8 or 9 to like 10 or 11, and we have a couple middle school kids too. But just hearing how young they are and how much they know and how much they tell you about their personal lives.
Yes.
And when they tell you that you make a difference, I really think that makes the impact on you, and it gives you absolutely no issue with trying to find time in your schedule.
Okay. So it sounds like a lot of you are doing continual service.
Mm-hmm.
So can you just, for the students who are doing this, because the next question really talks about how many times a year do you give up time. Can you just describe the kind of the scope of time that where you're actually like, for you guys, I think it's like by season, or I know you have different things. So if you don't mind going around and saying that.
So I'm the lead coordinator. I like help a lot of these students in here. So basically, we give anywhere from 2 to like 8 hours a week.
Okay.
So it's really involved, but the main reason why I keep going back is some of us are the only constant in the child's life.
Mm-hmm.
So just to let them know that someone's there for them, and will always be there for them, no matter what. They can, on every Thursday, they know Coach Monica's going to be there, and they can talk to her about their schoolwork that day. It's just really impactful for me.
Okay. Is that the entire academic year or the majority?
Entire active year.
Okay, great. Yes.
I think I'm also at Crozier, but I don't do the emotional support. I do like blood pressures. I
Okay.
think one of the reasons I keep going back is because the people that come are like on a schedule. And one thing I noticed this semester is it changed from Tuesdays to Thursdays, and everybody was like upset about it. So like it's something that like they count on, like they're waiting for you to like be there, and they look forward to like seeing you like every Thursday. So like for me, like I keep going back because I know like I'm being counted on.
Okay, and so you see the same people who are coming in, and they look forward to seeing you.
Yeah.
That's a nice thing to have, especially with the kids, with patients, clients coming in. Anybody else?
In the summer, I hope my old coach will like football.
Nice.
Football camp. And so like I just go and like help the kids. Like you'll see like probably for like the past 3 years, I saw like you'll see like the same kids.
Yeah.
But then you'll see some kids that are in high school now, like so and, like they come back and help. So like it's like just like everyone just comes back and help like because we like the old coach.
Okay, so you're doing it for the coach, you're doing it for the kids. It kind of creates a nice sense of community.
Yeah.
Okay, that's wonderful. All right, do the organizations you choose to volunteer for have an impact on your lives? So you know you're helping other people, they're looking forward to seeing you. What do you get out of it?
I work with NSS and Soccer for Success also, and every single day when we go to get the kids from their classroom and get ready to do soccer, they always like run up to me and hug me, and they're like, Coach Grace, we're so excited to see you. And then when they're leaving, their parents, I've had a bunch of parents come up to me and just say that their kid loves it and they look forward to it every week.
Nice.
They talk about me all the time, and that makes me feel like I'm making an impact on their lives.
That's really nice.
To like piggyback off what she said, like when a parent comes up to you and says like, "Oh, thanks for doing it," like that makes you feel good too. Like, oh, I'm actually doing something. Like they notice like the difference. Like they can like see it. So like that helps.
I think for me in Crozier, I'm learning a lot about my field, which is definitely like something that I like. But also, I'm at Widener Partnership Charter School, and like last week I read to like 50 kindergartners, and like they were just so happy. They were all clapping like after I finished reading, and they were saying how good of a reader I was, and I felt like I really like impacted their lives, and I like that a lot.
Okay.
I like it. I get a lot of kids in my group who like to open up to me, I guess. So like a lot of times we'll see them around the other coaches, and they're a little bit hesitant if they're a newer coach, especially. And I guess it just kind of feels good knowing that you're like a trustworthy figure for them to open up to you and tell them like, yeah, I really didn't have a good day, even though I said I did, stuff like that.
It's so nice, and especially when you get the feedback from the kids. But I agree with what you're saying. When parents can kind of say, you know, my child is talking about you when, you know, they come home, I think it really shows that there's a lasting type of impact that you have. So I think it's wonderful that you appreciate that, and it definitely seems like it's a reciprocal process. All right, let's see. What makes you stay committed to an organization? You have, some of you are part of organizations that expect you to do service, but what really kind of, other than obligation, and that could be one, what drives you to really continue this?
Like the reward of knowing you made a difference.
Okay,
That really makes me going at the end of the day.
okay,
I just know that like I'm a senior now, but the leadership prior to me kept me going.
okay.
So they were my role models, and I didn't want to let them down and let the organization down, so I knew I had to step up.
So other Widener students who
Yes.
wanted to continue with their legacy with the work that they did. Okay.
Like the relationships I've built over the course I've been there, and I've only been there for like a small amount of time, but I've still built like lasting relationships with them. I know if like one day I just stopped going, that would affect them immensely.
Okay.
So it's like I don't want to let them down, but at the same time, it's also like I've almost made like friends, even though they're like so much younger than you. It's still
They're
it feels
part of
good,
your
yeah,
life.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I appreciate that. Like you might not be having a good day, but it's kind of like you know it's going to make a difference. Does it kind of transition your mood or whatever's going on for you once you're there?
I feel like I
Yeah.
never had like you never volunteered and was like, oh, I'm never doing that. Like that's annoying. Like
Yeah.
it's always like a good time. Like I never volunteered and been like, oh, I hate this. This is awful. Like there's always something that's gonna make you like put a smile on your face.
Nice.
For me, it's like when I'm not stressed out, because when I'm at college, I'm always stressed out for schoolwork, and then
Sure.
like that 2 hours where I'm at NSS on Tuesdays and Thursdays, like that's the last on my mind.
Okay. So you're able to really transition once you're there at the site. You know that you're there for a different purpose.
I think the awesome thing about like the service that I'm at, which is NSS, is that you get to be a kid again. So you get to like
Yeah.
put
Nice
all your
way to look
worries
at it.
aside and like just kind of be with them and interact with them and just like be a kid again.
Okay. So the question that's listed here, and you can either add to what you've said before. The question asks, what draws or attracts you to a specific organization? So was it something that Widener had just made available for you, like with Soccer for Success, or was it something that you sought out? It sounds like you do football with your,
It's usually
Oh,
like
did you
someone I know. Like it's like they usually
Okay.
reach out and be like, oh, you mind do it? Like, oh yeah, no problem.
okay,
I'll come help. I'll come assist.
that's great.
I feel like a lot of the organizations here in Chester have a lot of good like morals, kind of, and it draws you to it because they want to get the kids, especially like off the streets, and they want to get them out of the house so they're not just sitting alone by themselves for like
Right.
hours on end.
Okay, that sounds good. Have you ever volunteered for an organization that made you have a bad experience? So it's kind of open-ended, any time period.
Yes, at Crozier, there was a
Okay.
floor that I went on, and the nurse just didn't want people in her patient's room.
Okay.
So I did everything I was supposed to. Like when I went in the patient's room, knocked on the door, went in, like see if they needed anything. And she just came up to me and was like, "I don't want you going in my patient's room. Like please stay on that side of the hallway." And I was like it made me upset because that never happened to me before. So that was a bad experience. But I just haven't been back to that floor since I've been on other floors that the nurses all know me and stuff. So.
Okay. So how do you find the floor that you're supposed to be on? Is there like a
The volunteer
coordinator?
offices, yeah,
Okay.
they pick what floor that you go to each day. So
Okay, and did you share that feedback with the coordinator?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Because I could see that being somebody's personal preference, just how they tend to care for their patients.
yeah,
I'm sure that was really alarming to you.
yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm glad it worked out. Yes.
I think one that it happened is when you're at a site and then somebody like knows that you're going to be there for free and you're working pro bono.
Yes.
So they kind of take advantage of you being there. So it was like this community was a clothing and food drive, but
Okay.
they like really only had a couple people and they were really pushing us to get everything done while they were there, so they didn't have to have like them do it or pay people to come do it. So that was pretty cool. Just them kind of really pushing you to do what you were there kind of just to help out with instead of take control of the entire thing.
So was that a one-time thing, or was that kind of an ongoing where they were taking advantage of your time?
It could have been an ongoing thing, but I went there one time.
Okay.
Because I figured it would have been if I went back. It would have been like that every time. So.
Okay. And that's hard when these nonprofit organizations really need volunteers
Yeah.
and they get good ones and they overwhelm you. That makes it a little changes your experience, I would think. Were you gonna add something?
Yeah, kind of like one of my first volunteer experiences. I was in like middle school and I volunteered for like a Christmas toy drive, and they were just kind of like shoving toys like in a bin, and like you just like didn't know if that's what the kid actually wanted. So it was just like really hard, and like I was like still like younger at the time. I still kind of like believed in Santa, so it was just hard for me to just like see them being like, okay, just throw it in there. This is the kid's name. Just like box it all up. Or like they like didn't even like look at the list that they actually had.
Okay.
So that was hard for me.
So it sounds like your values, you would want to make like a win-win match.
Yeah.
And it was like people were rushing through the
Mhm.
process. Did you ever go back and volunteer there?
I did actually.
Did they do a better job, or was
It
the
was
same?
just the volunteer coordinator that was there at the time.
Okay.
It was just like she just said to like it was like you could do it one time, you could go multiple
Mhm.
times, but the first time it was just like, oh, just throw like whatever, like, and like all the volunteers like were told to do that because we didn't know any different.
Right.
So it was just hard. But then I
It
went
sounds
back
like
and
it.
it was good
I'm glad.
when I went back.
I'm glad you go, because that could make somebody never show up, like the
Mhm.
experience the two of you had. So I'm glad you saw it the other way. Any other?
I volunteered a couple times at the Widener Chartership School
Mhm.
last semester, and the way I was like put into a volunteer, I was put into a classroom,
Okay.
but the like structure and the organization of the classroom was really not there. So
Okay.
I was like, it wasn't just like, oh, I'm helping the classroom with reading or with math. It was like controlling just like behavioral or just like trying to like situate the room, which I like it felt like more than my capacity
Right.
in a sense. So like the overall like not structured made me not want to go back to the school.
Okay. So did you go back after that?
I
or-
went a couple times, but it like kept reoccurring. So
And I think sometimes fit is really important. So
Yeah.
if you know that it's not matching with your skill set, it's going to, I think that was a smart
Yeah.
choice. And it sounds like you replaced it with something else or found another.
yeah, but then I started going to the hospital. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else a negative experience? It's all part of the process. So, all right. So let's see. They have some sub questions. Were you going to add?
No.
Okay. All right. I think we answered all of those. Other than, what advice would you give to those sites? Like, what would you say to the school to make the experience better?
I think like if they're going to have volunteers, maybe they do like a specific job. Not necessarily. I was just kind of like put into a classroom,
Mhm.
and I really didn't have like a job. And the teacher at the time thought I'd come before, and it was my first day. So I think it just more of an overall plan of what my like duty is there and what I should accomplish there.
That's great feedback.
I know, like, through the Office of Civic Engagement, like, we always ask, like, what do you need? But sometimes, like, people aren't honest with what they need, and then we go to a site and we get overwhelmed, like Eric was saying. Like, I've been to sites where, like, one-day events and, like, you're just slammed with work, and, like, you're there to work and everything, but sometimes it's just, like, too much, and you know you can't get it done. So just to tell the site to be honest with your needs, and, like, if you need, like, a volunteer to, like, help you like organize your classroom, like we can bring more people with us, like that kind of thing. So just be honest with your needs.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes they don't know what they're lacking until an outside person comes in. So just that channel for feedback, I imagine, would be important. So did you tell people at Widener that was your experience?
Yeah. I think I was sort of also, we were trying to figure out that service site at the time, if
Okay.
that would be a possibility.
Okay.
So I was kind of like the guinea pig in a sense. So we kind of figured it out more like this semester, I think, what we're doing with that, because that's more of the reading program this year. But I was just like put into the classroom. and
Okay.
I just wanted
Well, it
to
sounds
learn.
like your feedback actually made a difference and helped. So that's looking at the silver lining.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you research or look up your organization's website or social media before you volunteered?
I heard from Monica.
Okay. So Monica told you, as others have told you before. So okay, passing on the torch.
I feel like for like literally all of us, majority of us in the room are like PSC Bonners. So like it's usually like word of mouth at that point.
Okay. You said before it's a personal relationship.
Yeah,
Somebody
just
asked
like
you.
people I know, like usually, most likely, like they reach out to me and it's like, sure, if I'm free, I'll come.
Okay.
I think that's important. The only big group that I've ever worked with was Phil Abundance.
Mhm.
But other than that, everything that I've done that's volunteer work has been with like family, friends, or someone I knew
Okay.
that just needed a hand, or an organization that had like smaller sub-organizations that
Right.
would do that, like an SS. Like we're student run and student facilitated, but I would have never heard about it unless it was for the Bonner program here.
Okay. That sounds good. Okay. Say an organization you are interested in volunteering for has a poor website. Would that impact your decision, kind of how the organization is representing itself to the external community? Okay. So people are saying yes?
I'm going to say no, depending on the organization.
Okay.
Specifically because that could definitely not be, they could have phenomenal marketers, but if not, I don't think it's really the focus of it. If you kind of get their message and what they stand for and what they do, and you maybe you go try them and see what they're all about, you can find out more from that than their website.
Okay.
I know it is important, but
Okay.
I guess it varies.
I understand that.
I'd say for me, if I'm looking at the website, I know what it's about.
Mhm.
And so as long as it has contact information and a location, that's good enough for me, and I'll make the judgment based upon my experience there.
Okay.
I like to see pictures. I'm a very visual person,
Okay.
so I kind of
Sure.
like to see like visual representation of what they're about.
Okay. Well, especially if it's new, you kind of want to get a sense before you walk in there, going into a hospital setting or a classroom or working with a group of kids, that you might want to have the opportunity to see that. Okay, very good. All right, so I know that the students want to talk to you and they want to ask you a couple questions about the organization that they plan to work with, so they'll probably come in. Any other overall volunteer experiences that you want to share about how you're motivated? Do you want to continue after graduation?
So about 2 years ago, I found the Ruth Bennett Farm,
Yes.
and a lot of people have volunteered there. I brought like all of SGA, like it was a service site for a while. So just kind of like a lot of us like are channeled into one spot where like some of us like kind of put our focuses in like littler spaces, and I think like whichever one you do, as long as you feel you're personally making an impact, that it's good enough.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I feel like something that's like really important is that you feel like you're making an impact. Like I've had experiences at Crozier where sometimes like I'm there just to like do my service or get my hours in, and it's like it kind of demotivates me when I feel like there's nothing for me to do. So like when doing service, make sure like the people that you're working with like have something that's making them feel good about what they're doing, not just like be there and not make a difference.
Okay. So you're doing blood pressures?
I'm doing blood pressures now.
Okay.
At first I was doing the emotional support thing, and like sometimes it was like a great experience, but other times there were no patients on the floor, or the nurses, like you just felt like you were in the way. So like that kind of thing, so it's nice to feel needed and like counted on, which I do feel more so doing blood pressure.
I was gonna say, like, sometimes when you go to like an organization, they think you're there for like some kind of reward or something like that. So yes, I am like in a volunteer program. I need hours, but like I tell people all the time, even if I wasn't in the program, I'd still be doing it. So I guess just don't assume everybody's just doing it for personal like gain.
Okay.
Some people really just want to give back.
That's good feedback.
So last year I was at Crozier. Well, I didn't originally start at Crozier. They set my service site, so I was somewhere else and the hours weren't working. So they set me up with Soccer for Success. They wanted it to be like a nursing position, so I did like heights and weights of the kids for the first semester. And then the director actually called me back the second semester, and he was like, "I want to make you our intern for the next 4 years. Like, this is the only position we're gonna have. This is like, I was the first one, the only one. So I felt like really rewarded by that. They liked my service, and
Nice.
now I'm gonna be going there all 4 years. And I
Okay.
really felt like I impacted the
That's
program.
awesome.
Yeah.
And then you'll know the kids, and they
Yeah.
know you, so we look forward to seeing
Yeah.
you. That's awesome. So I believe they're going to come in, and they're going to show you kind of what they're working with, and they're going to show you some websites. So because it is a communication studies project, they're going to be showing you kind of the future direction of where they're going, and they want to get your feedback on all of that.
Okay.
So you have a really great group here.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Your answers were good.
So this is our website, and when we contacted our client, they really wanted us to like redo their website because the last time someone we did their website was, I want to say like 4 years ago. Villanova, they had a marketing team do it for them, so it's like very outdated. They also want to have like a more strong social media presence, like a Facebook page and Instagram, and we're thinking about doing a Twitter for them as well. So we're just going to go through the website and to see like what you think can improve on it. So like this is like their welcome page, and then you go like to their About Us, which is right here. So it's basically just like a small like synopsis of like their organization. As you can see, like the calendar's kind of outdated.
There's not much visual. Like,
Yeah.
appeal. I know some people said like pictures and maybe like videos.
Yeah.
So like, do you think like if there was like images of maybe like people who work with the organization, stuff like that? Do you think that would be better to include on there?
I feel like the first thing that comes to my mind is if I was like a 45-year-old stay-at-home mom, I could not read that with their eyes.
No,
like it's very small.
And also,
Yeah.
that's another thing is because a lot of people that a lot of the people in this organization that have like disabilities or impairments, some people are visually impaired. So like that's another thing they want to figure out how they can make the website more user-friendly for people who have visual impairments.
It's only like visual impairments? And
There's
maybe
people
to, like,
that
speak,
yeah.
like click on things where
Yeah,
they
like
can speak.
little audio.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I was gonna say something huge that like I feel like I see on a lot of big websites now is like as soon as you go to the homepage, it's like one big introduction video.
Mm-hmm.
They have like a 1.5 minute, 2 minute little snippet just about everything they do and when they do it, and they just like really squeeze it back in. And it's really busy, but like it gets the point across, and then there's little subsections that you can.
Yeah, so like here's another part. Like it has like the different races. Like this website is so outdated.
It's pretty dry. Like
Yeah. So it's just like their official races. Like they do the Broad Street Run, like the New York City Run for Hope and Possibility. Like they could add more like you guys said, more pictures to show like the races that they do.
I see like a lot of like history that they put in there, something like current events maybe to show that they're still out there. That isn't just something that happened once.
So like, what's like the background of like this like organization? Like you said, they're like athletes with impairments.
Well, it's Philadelphia Achilles. It's a chapter in Philadelphia. So Achilles is an international organization. So like there's chapters in different cities throughout the United States.
And basically just like the nature of the organization, the mission is to like give or supply like an opportunity for people who have like physical disabilities or visual impairments and like other things of that nature, like an opportunity to get like physically active and also be like included in like an organization to say they belong to something.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, my cousin's actually a part of the group.
So was the purpose like to get people to volunteer?
Mm-hmm.
That's their main goal.
Yeah, I think one thing would be like on the homepage, like that should be like a features, like do you want to volunteer? Because like I noticed like up in the right hand corner it says that. I think.
Athletes and volunteer, like why join? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
like that should be like on the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, join us,
just
volunteer.
like just like a link, like click to join. You can literally click and like your username and whatever like that.
Have athletes and volunteers separated?
Volunteers is more like people like who go to the races. They kind of like help out, and then athletes is like the people that run.
Yeah, I feel like that should be separated.
Separated, yeah.
Is there a link to the Achilles?
The actual like website, like the real. Yeah, let me go to that really quick. Achilles International. Okay, so like this is the organization's like national website. So like see like theirs is more visual.
Yeah.
So like who we are.
Everyone loves dogs.
There you go.
Like look, there's a Philadelphia's one, so it's just
Yeah, the slideshow.
yeah, like that's really cool. Like who we are.
And take up the whole screen too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like that's more easy to read. Like their text font was really much more smaller.
Yeah.
And I think what he was saying too earlier was like have a link to this website
Mhm.
on their branch, just so they can back up the fact that
Yeah.
they're like a national organization.
Like they don't even take up the whole screen.
Yeah.
There's some empty space.
So like see like you go to their blog. Let's see the last time they had a blog.
And like maybe you know how sometimes on the side you have like your Twitter feed. I don't know. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like their
So,
social media.
Yeah,
posts on
like
Twitter.
that on the side.
And like it should stay there. So if they go to home, you can still see the thing that's
Yeah, like
on
recent-
Twitter.
That's
Okay.
another thing. In addition to the website, they don't have like any other. They have Facebook, but it's more like a closed group for like people in the organization. Do you think like other social media like platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter would be effective?
Yeah.
I think something that we had in mind, especially, would be like Instagram,
Yeah.
with like maybe to like highlight like the different events that they do, certain people that volunteer or like are a part of the organization as well. Maybe just like who they are, maybe what their story is.
Yeah.
I
Stuff
think
like
you
that.
should do like a spotlight.
That's
like,
what. Yeah,
Like on like different athletes.
Oh,
Yeah.
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 We were also thinking about doing like a video feature on here, like where we go into like the organization and interview like the different athletes and get like their story on like why they joined that specific organization. So you do think like having like those stories on the website like in a visual form
Yeah.
would that like motivate people?
Or even like volunteer feedback, like why
Yeah.
volunteer there or something.
Okay.
Of that sort.
Yeah, basically just telling everyone's story, about like
Yeah. So this is a shop. I don't know what the shop is for.
Something really right there too.
Yeah. This is like the shirts that they wear.
Why is the shirt like wrinkly?
Wait, why is it bright?
look wrinkly?
Wrinkly? I don't know. But the reason behind their this shirt is that like they stand out. Like when people see like their bright green shirts, they're like, oh, that's Philly's Achilles. Like they've seen like people when they do like their morning runs, like their workouts every Saturday, and then people see them like running throughout the city, and they're like,
I
oh,
understand, like, why
yeah.
they have bright shirts.
Yeah.
Like, why is the shirt have
Oh, I don't
wrinkles?
know.
Like, have a picture of a wrinkled shirt.
Not sure.
That one is not French.
Yeah.
Somebody just took it. Somebody just went it.
So you do the shirt picture.
Yeah, definitely. The media.
Basically, crush the surfing and like,
Just look at pictures. real
nice.
quick.
Yeah, nice. Feeling it.
Ooh, they're like links.
So like they're linked. So like that's just too much clicking.
Please enjoy our albums.
Yeah.
With pictures.
Yeah, they should have had that in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People aren't gonna read links.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they have
Some
videos.
people might not even know their links because.
Right.
Out of Europe.
That's
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
if that was their
How long was
shot.
that video, Katie?
This one?
Yeah.
It's like 8
don't
minutes.
show the whole thing.
Yeah,
Just
we
show them,
won't
like,
show. We can
first
snip
minute.
it. Okay.
So this is kind of just like so you guys can get a feel for it.
Yeah.
It is important for people to feel that they belong. It's important for people to feel that they're needed.
Nobody can do everything by themselves, and yet everybody loves to be the person who can help.
There is a core group of people who will encourage you to get out there and to propel yourself forward.
Everybody has an excuse, be it a disability, be it that you have yard work to do. Everybody has an excuse. It's a matter of just getting out and committing and doing it.
You get that first one in, and suddenly you're doing something that at the beginning seemed just far beyond reach.
Achilles' mission is to enable individuals with all types of disabilities to participate in mainstream sports and also to experience the joy of achievement.
Achilles is a way of letting everybody who wants to be able to run.
When you're running with Achilles, you don't have to be an Ironman or a triathlon kind of athlete. It depends on actually on the pace that the athlete wants to go.
Achilles pairs up individuals of all disabilities, whether you're blind or in a wheelchair or need crutches, no matter what your ability level is, even if you're a volunteer.
The first step is showing up one time, and the interesting thing is people will be asking for you the next time.
I'll just stop it there.
That's a good video.
Yeah, it is. I feel like if they, yeah.
I feel as if it should be integrated into some text or something like that, like midway through a passage, like have it there, not just like a page full of videos.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's a great. That video it looks good. Like
Yeah.
that should be on the home. Like that should.
They'll be on the main page. Yeah.
And basically, just to tie this in, like all together, and like into communication studies as well. Like we have like certain like key like communication theories that like relate to sort of like our topic in this organization, and like the one was motivation theory. So that's why a lot of the questions that you guys were asking in the focus group are like, what motivates you or influences you to volunteer? Because that's going to help us with like this project, like what we can include that might persuade someone to like want to know more about the organization, or maybe work or volunteer with them. And then same thing with another theory is narrative paradigm theory, and that's just about storytelling and like you guys said, like that video was good. Like, how can we tell a better story, just not in just video, but on the website as a whole? And, yeah, and then role identity theory. You guys like talked about like who you are and like who you volunteer with and like what persuades you to want to like how you identify as a volunteer. So that's just kind of how it all ties together and why it's important to like help this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything they want to say about maybe this organization or something you want to know?
Do you want us to do this?
Yeah. If you could fill that out, yeah.
Just so we,
yeah.
To help with like demographics, stuff like that.
You remember?
No. There's one right here.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually picked the organization because I have a family tie to it. My cousin, he's actually visually impaired. He's a student at Drexel University, and like he runs with them. Yeah, he ran
Did
cross.
you guys, if another thing that we like have in mind, I know some of you guys said like during the focus group that like the way you hear about a lot of like volunteer opportunities is through like civic engagement and stuff. So if like Widener were to sort of like create like a partnership maybe through civic engagement with them, would you think that like you and maybe other people, because I know like a lot of you guys are in PSC, would want to like volunteer with this organization or learn more about it?
I think definitely like the one-time event, like offering like about it is really cool because like I don't know, like but I guess the runs are like on Saturdays or something. Like,
Yeah, they meet every Saturday usually.
Just like I feel like
But they
just
have
going
bigger
out,
events.
like to like the bigger events and like showing support and like even just like the fact that it can be like one time or like regular volunteer is like really appealing.
Do you know if the sports teams, do they have to have community service, or is that like no
Club sports.
Club sports? So I was thinking maybe like athletes on campus here would be interested in.
SGA is kind of like looking for like an organization to adopt that doesn't really need clearances.
Yeah.
So if you guys want us to take it on, we'd be more than willing.
We're just like fill that out.
So.
Damn, we're getting old. Jesus.
I think definitely, like, if you do try to get volunteers from Widener, emailing, maybe, like, for Bonner, at least, if you have somebody that you're friends with in Bonner, having them send out an email, because like, I've had to recruit volunteers for my service sites, and there's always people that need hours and will do opportunities like that, so I suggest, like, trying to do that.
That's like a mini goal that we have to sort of, like, create, like I said, like, create, like, the partnership. Like, I know, like, civic engagement, like they have like NSS and like all those different organizations that they volunteer for. Maybe not like making it like a main one, but something that like civic engagement and Bonner is like aware of, that they can sort of have that contact because they're always looking for, or Achilles is always looking for people to help out.
Especially if it's like a one time like Saturday or something, and like Bonner kids need more hours. Like they're gonna get it.
Yeah, it says here in like fine text. I don't know if you can read that. It's like right there. It says Philly Achilles meets at 9 a.m. every Saturday, and it has like the street address. So.
I was gonna say I know a lot of the clubs need service hours as well. So like one example is like biology clubs. So like even like the academic clubs, they need like I think it's like a minimum of like 40 service hours.
Okay.
So one-time events like that especially would help them out a lot.
Okay.
I think sororities would be really interested in that too.
Yeah.
Everybody's signing this, right? Alright, so I think that's all we have. Thank you again, guys. We'll be sure to send you an email thank you, and you each will get like a gift card of some sort. We're gonna give you like a little thank you for doing this.
That's literally doing this.
So that's why we asked for your email, just so you can get in contact with you, so we can like get you your thank you gift and stuff. And then there's a lot of food out, well, pretzels, not food. There's still more pretzels out there if you guys want that. But yeah, if you guys are ever curious about where our project's at, what we're up to with it,